Excited to show you this. It's our new AC Weld product, which is designed to solve leaking air conditioning for cars that leak down to empty between 1 and 7 days. We already had stop leak and an O-ring conditioner, which was a product that's designed to cure cars that leak down in 7 to 14 days or even longer, which acts basically on the rubber components of the system and just gives you a conditioning effect. But if you've got a car with a more mechanical issue, perhaps in a pipe or condenser or whatever, then that probably won't do the job. So for a long time we've been trying to do this, and here we've got it. So the first thing to mention is, to reiterate, the vehicle must leak down between 1 and 7 days to be a candidate for this product. And the second thing is, it can only be used on an empty system. If the vehicle has pressure, that's not a candidate for this. It's installed as a two-step process. So the first can is a dryer, and what that does is it takes any moisture in the system and converts that to synthetic lubricant, which will be completely harmless for the system. And then once you've done that, you install step 2, which is the sealer, which will actually allow a sealing, like a hard layer over any of the tiny cracks in metal. It's quick to do. And you can use either of the two aircon top-up hoses. This car's R134, so I've got R134 AC Weld. I'm showing you our R134 aircon top-up seal conditioner, and I'm showing you the yellow hoses. If you had the 1234 YF cars, you'd be using blue hoses and appropriate cans to go with that. But you can use both types of hose. The traditional one will work with the resealable cans. There is a little video that covers that, and the only difference in the procedure is that where I'm going to be able to leave the trigger hose on between cans, you'd be expected to remove it. But if you're used to using this, you'd already know that already. So I'm going to leave that there now and take the trigger hose. I'm going to show you how this works. This particular vehicle, whilst we use it for all of our videos, does actually have a leak, because you shouldn't use this product on vehicles that don't leak. This actually does have a leak, so it will be helpful to repair it. So this is great. Let's start by connecting up, and it's leaked down to 0. There's absolutely no pressure in it, so I know that I'm safe to proceed here. And I'm going to connect my dryer can by screwing it on like that. Okay, and if everything's okay, I'm going to go ahead and start the car and install this first can. So let's do that. I'm going to switch the aircon onto full. I'm going to set it to recirculate, which is a standard procedure. Obviously the aircon won't come on at this stage because there's no gas in the system, so the compressor won't actually activate. The first can contains about 110 grams of refrigerant, which should be enough to kick that compressor in. So let's begin by pulling the trigger and invert the can. So this is quite a cool day, and that makes it doubly important to invert the can to allow the liquid refrigerant to migrate down into the vehicle. On a very hot day, you can get away with regassing this way up, but actually it's best to do it this way always. I like to give them a shake because you can feel the can as it empties, and also you feel it get cold, which is a side effect of the refrigerant migrating down there. Did you hear the click? That's the compressor coming in, so this is doing its job. We've now got working aircon. Oh yes, and of course now the compressor's running, I can feel the can really going cold as it's sucking the refrigerant in. Quick check on the gauge. There we go, look, I've got 18 psi and I've now got working aircon. One brilliant thing with the resealable can that you couldn't do with the non-resealable can, you can remove it and give it a shake, which is fantastic for finding out how much of it you've actually got left. Only a little bit in this case. Of course, with the traditional aircon top-up Pierce type can, you couldn't do that. You had to leave it on the manifold. Just a bit more difficult to work out where you were at. All right, so I can feel that's all gone. We got as far as 18 psi with step 1, and that's it. So the dryer is installed. We want to leave that for 5 minutes, cup of tea, something like that, and then we can proceed to step 2. I'm going to go right ahead and do that. I'd advise you leave it a little longer than me, as I say, cup of tea or whatever. So step 2, it's as simple as screwing it on. Bear in mind, like I said before, if you're using the traditional hose, you want to disconnect first, but with the trigger it's just easier, you can do it this way. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to install the weld. This is going to give me doing my maths on this. This car takes around 500 grams of refrigerant from empty. The first can is 113, second can is 113, so I'm only going to get 225, 226 grams of refrigerant in this car when I've completed the weld process. So I will definitely need to top this up with an Aircon blue or Eskimo Juice blue can once I've finished the job. So where are we at here? But you can see 22, 23 psi, and the can's going cold on my hand, especially as it's not that warm a day today. Let's do that. Once the weld's been installed into the car, it is really important to leave the vehicle running for 20-25 minutes with everything switched on to allow the weld to actually proceed and to circulate. Do not just turn it off because it won't work and you could cause yourself problems. So okay, I think that can is empty. Let's check. Yeah, it is. Okay, so that's it. I ended up with 22 psi, and if you think about it, 220 grams of a 500 gram car, I'd expect this vehicle on a cold day to perhaps end up regassed at about 35, something like that. So I'll just be, after I finish this video in a minute now, I'll just top that up to 35 once I've allowed it to circulate. But that's it. I hope you enjoy watching the video. I hope it's instructive. You really won't find a better way to fix the vehicle. We call this your last step before expensive repairs. If this won't work, it really is going to be mechanical work. So good luck with it, and thanks for watching.